Lance Rivera's open letter to Jay-Z is weird.
I do want to ask you about Jay. I know he did a freestyle some weeks ago that went viral where he brought up the stabbing incident between both of y'all.
I still on you suckers out of all of you niggas, gang. I ain't much for me, it's no how. Cancel the brunches, I remember the hunger pain. The price of the bricks going up. It's gonna cost you a beat to even say my name. You ever heard of a wonder king? My children and some of them, have you niggas no shame? Y'all trying to get under skin? I really get under skin. Ask unharmed player.
You heard about that?
Yeah, I kind of saw it. You know, but before we kind of talk about that, I was working on something, and I plan on putting out this open letter to Jay-Z. I think it's about time that, I kind of had this conversation with him. I wanted to really have it privately, but I thought it would be good to, reach out to him this way. Dear Jay-Z, I'm writing this letter because your voice has always carried meaning beyond music. For decades, your journey has represented possibilities to people who were told to expect limitations. But your story also represents something bigger than individual success. You became a symbol of what can happen when talent meets opportunity and when ambition refuses to surrender to the systems designed to contain it. For many people, especially within Black communities across America, your rise challenged narratives that said greatness could only exist in certain places, schools, neighborhoods, or social classes. That is why your voice still matters today.
Lights up, mics up. Let's get these likes up. Hit that subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Listen. So this thing with Lance Rivera and this open letter to Jay-Z, to me, I know it seems like a from the heart, a pure, grown-up way to handle the matter. But to me, something's fishy about it. Something's off. It seems like it may be a play to go after a trauma lawsuit down the line, to play a victim card. Something's going on with this open letter, and I don't feel like, I'm just going to be honest, that it's genuine. I see a bunch of people in his comments saying, "Yeah, Lance, this is dope, man. I like how you worded this. This is the grown-up way to handle this." But I don't know if this is really a grown-up way of handling it, because it seems like there is an undercurrent of trying to make Jay-Z appear to be petty in some kind of way, which is all is fair in love and war. I'm just going to be honest. I didn't like that line that he said about Lance Rivera. I did like the freestyle, but that line kind of seemed a little too much. It seemed out of place. I didn't understand the context. Well, I did understand the context, but I didn't think it was necessary, okay? I'm just going to be open and honest about that, me being a Hove fan, and I do understand what Hove is trying to do with most of his lyrics, but that one I didn't think was necessary. Now, all that did to me, though, is give Lance Rivera an opening. I want to talk about this because some of you may or may not know who he is. You may or may not know the backstory. So I want to get into that and get to how we got here, where he's seemingly lining Jay up for something. He's trying to prop him up with all this, all these compliments and all this. You got the power, right? You got the touch. You got the power, right? He's trying to hit him with all of that, but the undercurrent is, Jay, you're too old for this. Well, let's talk about that, because there's a long history with these two that by us getting in the roundabout way, us getting here, it kind of makes no sense for Lance to take the high road, okay? Him taking the high road in this letter is kind of off-putting to me. It really smells fishy. Let me read what's going on. So, Lance Rivera is a music executive and former business partner of the notorious B.I.G., whose history with Jay-Z is most famously defined by a 1999 nightclub stabbing. Recently, the two have made headlines again due to Jay-Z revisiting the incident in a viral freestyle, prompting Rivera to speak out. In December 1999, at a listening party for Q-Tip's album Amplified at New York City's Kit Kat Club, Riviera was stabbed in the stomach and the shoulder. The altercation reportedly, he denies being stabbed in both. He says he was just stabbed in, I believe he said the back. So he's not even. I don't think he's even owning up to the shoulder wound or what have you. But it's something about the back, something about the stomach, something about the shoulder. It's all over the place. Let me continue. The altercation reportedly stemmed from allegations that Riviera's cat was bootlegging Jay-Z's highly anticipated album, Volume 3, Life and Times of Sean Carter. Jay-Z turned himself into the police and eventually pled guilty to misdemeanor third-degree assault in 2011. Now, in 2023, there was a surprise revelation. In the reveal, Riviera sat down with an interview and cleared Jay-Z's name, stating that someone else in the entourage actually stabbed him. He claimed that Jay-Z took the rap for the incident, describing Hov as a nice guy and a poet who wasn't the person responsible for the assault. So now, let me just explain a little bit more. Lance Rivera went on Vlad TV and started to kind of save face by saying that it wasn't Jay-Z. He even went so far as to say, if it was Jay-Z that had stabbed him, you would have never got the Black Album. To me, that's basically saying, there ain't no stabbing me. If I would have known it was Jay-Z, Jay-Z would have been 1, 2, 3, you're out of here, okay? So to me, that sounds like a low-key threat, and he's basically telling you, ain't no way on earth that man would have stabbed me. And that's why he didn't go to jail, okay? And even Nas said it. I want to have this conversation because even Nas said, your man stabbed and made you take the charge, right? There's a lot going around this thing, but Jay came back this year and had that freestyle and said, I'm trying to get under your skin. Like I said, I didn't really think that bar was necessary. I didn't think dredging up that old, whether you did it or didn't do it, I don't think that that's something you want to dredge up. But I'm going to tell you why I think he did. Jay-Z said he was going on offense in 2026, all 2026. After Tony Busby tried to assassinate that man's character, he really tried to end that man's pretty much his whole life, because had he lost that case or had he been convicted in any kind of way, it would have been devastating, right? Even though it was a civil suit, it would have been devastating had he lost that in any kind of way, or had it been any type of middle of the road where it seemed even remotely true. So Tony Busby set that man on a path of straight up revenge. He tried to get Tony Busby's license taken. That didn't work, but he did have a few small wins because they threw the case out, the case against him and Diddy, okay? That Tony Busby knew was a sham case, but he did it anyway. Now, at that point, Hov told you in the freestyle that his grandmother, she lived long enough for him to clear his name, but had she not, it would have been a whole lot of people that wished that they was dead, okay? So what I feel like happened after that, when he had that, it was life-changing to have people throw that on you and you to survive it and come out the other side. But so he said, I'm coming out on all offense. And a lot of people that he referenced in that freestyle all talk nonsense about Jay-Z over the last 3-4 years. Rocnation this, Jay-Z that, Beyonce this, Jay-Z's kids that. Everybody in that freestyle, including Lance Rivera. Now, Jay-Z's plugged in. He watches a lot of this stuff, even though he doesn't appear to, right? He knows that Lance Rivera did a whole series of he did a one long video, and they clipped it up into scenes and segments. The Art of Dialogue interviewed Lance Rivera about a year or two ago, right? I'm not sure how long ago it was. I'm sure I believe it was last year, around this time last year. I'm not sure. But Lance Rivera had a whole bunch of stuff to say about Jay-Z that was not positive. And one of the things I remember 100% was that he wasn't feeling Jay-Z not taking care of Dame Dash, gang. He said, even though you guys ain't cool, that's your man. Dame Dash should not have any financial trouble as long as Jay-Z is around to help him. He said, that's your man. Even though you guys had a falling out, Jay, you know damn well that guy was there for you. You should come in your pocket. Basically saying Jay-Z should take $20 million that Dame Dash owes in taxes and this, that, and the third and just hand it to him because that's his man. Well, if I'm Jay-Z and I'm hearing that, knowing that me and Dame been talking crazy about me for at least 20 years, and you're going to go on a nationally program, a national program, and try to smear my name by saying I'm disloyal. He literally was calling them disloyal. He said, this is your man. First of all, these guys met as grown men. They didn't come up together. They wasn't on the blocks together, right? They weren't doing a whole lot of crime together. These guys were two different guys in two different situations, which Dame never lets you forget. He never lets you forget he didn't do this, that, and the third with Jay-Z. Jay-Z was corny to him. Now Jay-Z's corny, right? So how in what world, after all of that has transpired, all the money that mixed hands and got crisscrossed, and some people saying people stole money, this, that, and the third, right? We're not going to say no names, right? But end of the day, allegedly there was a lot of funny business, and that was on Dame's part, according to people close to the situation. Why would Jay-Z now when the man is down at his own hands. Jay didn't do this. Dame got his own self in tax trouble. Dame got his own self in child support trouble. And Dame got his own self in legal trouble with these people that he tried to do business with. Then he messed up the money per se, and he lost all the lawsuits. All of those things are Dame's doing way after Jay was out of the picture. A decade after Jay is gone or more, that Dame got started burying himself in legal trouble. But Lance goes on that interview and basically calls Jay-Z disloyal because he won't give Dame Dash money. I'm sure Jay-Z heard that. So when he was writing this freestyle and putting in his head all these people he was going to get, Tory Lanez, Kanye, Jaguar, right? All these people that he was shooting these shots at, right? He remembered that Lance said something too. Now, the way he chose to get Lance, like I said in the beginning, I disagree with the line of trying to get under your skin. I didn't like that line because to me, Jay's above that. That's just my opinion. I think you shouldn't be, I'm just going to be honest, you shouldn't be bragging about a guy that's that's still living, right? Especially a guy that has he's a public figure. So to me, I thought it was a bad move. It wasn't, to me, I didn't think that it was a good idea. Okay? So let me continue this so we could continue to figure out how we got here and why Lance Rivera is now writing this weird, spooky letter trying to make Jay seem like this god on earth, but there's something, there's an undertone to it. Let me get there. So following the viral Roots Picnic freestyle where Jay-Z referenced the decades-old stabbing, Riviera broke his silence to express frustration. In an open letter and subsequent interviews, Riviera criticized Jay-Z for using his past trauma as marketing rollouts to protect the tough guy persona, noting that if he is going to be used in that capacity, he should be compensated so he can pay you for your trauma. Got it. So Riviera is basically going to say on this video, if you're going to use my name, at least pay me, right? That's weird, okay? That sounds like somebody setting up for a trauma lawsuit. I saw somebody on Twitter saying, it sounds like if Jay is really using his trauma as a marketing ploy, then it sounds like he has a really good case for a trauma lawsuit. And I went on that person's post and I said, well, I don't think he has a case because he said on another interview with Vlad TV that Jay-Z didn't do it. Okay? He basically said it was somebody in Jay-Z's entourage. So I don't know what kind of trauma you can sue him for, and I don't know if you're going to win just because he brought up something that happened to you that was public knowledge, okay? Let me continue. He should be compensated. He also urged Jay-Z to use his massive platform to promote positivity and ownership instead, okay? He also went on to say, you really want to get under my skin? I'll really get under your skin. Ask how I'm playing. That's what Jay said. So then what we got to with the point with Lance, he goes, it's been about a month since Jay-Z's Roots Picnic. This is in the article, and it still has people talking, all right? So this article is on hotnewhiphop.com by Aaron A. The acapella contains several responses to those who smeared his name, but a few others caught strays. Lance Rivera is among those. During the freestyle, Jay referenced the infamous 1999 stabbing that led to his 3-year probation sentence for a misdemeanor charge of third-degree assault. So what they're saying is Jay-Z got hit with the charge, and Jay-Z is admittedly saying in this freestyle with the line that he said, you really want to get under my skin, da-da-da. He said, I'll get under your skin, ask Lance how I'm coming. So at the end of the day, Jay-Z is admitting to it too with this freestyle. But Lance was trying to save face, and he already said that Jay didn't do it. They already said it was 10 guys with it was 10 knives in there, and he don't know really who actually did it, or he's not going to say, but he's already admitted that Jay didn't have nothing to do with it. But Jay ended up catching that charge anyway, and he caught a misdemeanor because remember he had the lawyer that had to eat the case. The guy paid $50,000 to get him out on bail. So he did have a really good lawyer, and the lawyer had connections, and he got Jay off. All right, let me continue. Rivera had remained rather quiet about the situation since the performance, but on the weekend, it's a month ago. It's been a whole month, and hasn't said. Well, he did put up one thing that said, did he just say my name? I'm gonna call Nas, right? He kind of took his shot with that, talking about I'm gonna call Nas, da da da. So he was kind of playing with it, trying to get a little buzz off it, this, that, and the third. So he wasn't 100% quiet, but he for the most part, as far as I know, he didn't say much about it, but he did say that. Okay, let me continue. But on the weekend, he finally broke his silence. In an open letter shared on Instagram, he expressed praise for. If you go to his Instagram right now, he still has the picture up of Jay-Z doing the freestyle where he says, "Did he say my name? I'm going to call Nas." So if you want to go check that out, it's still there. In an open letter he shared on Instagram, which is where he put the letter, he expressed praise for Jay-Z's evolution, his contributions to the culture, and the inspiration that he gave many across America. The letter also cited that Jay-Z showed the possibilities of healing, learning, ownership, and self-awareness. I'm not buying this, gang. I'm not buying this smooth criminal tough talk. The smooth talk from a real life guy that used to be a 100% real criminal, a Brooklyn guy that really was in the field. He has said as such, and he has said that he is not a joke. He don't play no games. This letter to me, it seems a little contrived. When you hear the wording, it's like somebody talking to somebody they really respect, somebody they really have high admiration for. I don't think Lance Rivera has high admiration for Jay-Z. I really don't. So while you're writing a letter that has all these goody gumdrop words in it, I think it's false. I think it's fugazi, and I think it's a fraud. But let me continue. The letter largely centered around Jay's positive contributions and emphasizing his positive contributions. I don't know why they wrote that twice. However, in a letter interview with the Art of Dialogue, he expressed the frustration that he had with the freestyle. This is what he said after he got the letter out. This is what he said to Art. Quote, "I thought it was not one of the best bars that he's had," Rivera said. "I think what people need to understand is that most of Jay-Z's intentions are purely based on marketing rollouts. I was part of the rollout for the products that are going on right now in the streets. So I fell victim to that. The main grievances that Un has with Jay-Z's freestyle are centered around how he's constantly mentioned when Jay's either trying to push a new product or trying to reinforce his reputation." That's true. That's true. But at the end of the day, he hasn't talked about Lance in a very long time. The last one I want to say probably 15 years ago where he mentioned Lance. I don't think he every time he drops something he mentions Lance, but he did put "I just flip it on you" in a freestyle. He did say some stuff about Lance. He did say some stuff about Steve. So it does happen that Jay does low-key use their names as punchlines to reinforce his street cred, which I don't agree with doing that. I think you can express your street cred without speaking on real life issues with real life people that are public knowledge. I don't think that needs to be a thing that we're doing. That's just my opinion. All right. The main grievances that that in particular became even more upsetting in contrast to Jay's message about healing from trauma. Quote, if you want to send the message to your brand and your partnerships that you're dangerous, using me as an example of how dangerous you are just to sell products, then that's up to him. I'm not against him making money. Find another way to make you a tough guy. Now, I don't think he's trying to look tough. I don't think he's trying to sell products. I think, like I said, he has done it before where he's mentioned this, that, and the third. But I don't think it's to sell products. I don't think it's to roll out his album. I feel like Jay is using his name as a slick line, a slick bar. But first of all, we don't know what product Jay is trying to sell or what items he's got coming out. So we really can't say that it's to sell products, this, that, and the third, and to make him look tough. Now, I do agree that by proxy, it will somehow make him look tough and have street cred. But I don't think that it's to sell products per se. And I don't think it's to try to use for some marketing. Yes, he does say his name at a very pivotal time, but I don't know what Jay could be possibly selling to make think that this is for a specific product he got coming out. Let me continue. Stop using me to do it unless you're going to pay me. Send me a check. I'll be part of your marketing strategy. So it's going to be pretty hard for him to go to court about this. If he's sitting there saying, if you pay me, I'll do it, that's going to look really bad for his trauma case if he does try to do any kind of trauma case, because you're basically saying, I'm trying to get paid from this one way or the other. So I don't know if that's going to work. But the letter that he issued, gang, to me, I'm just going to be honest. It's too much. It's way too much trying to make Jay into this. I don't know. He's giving him this deity type of power, right? And I don't think it's sincere. I think it's a lot of blowing smoke, and I think it's a lot of look at me, look at what happened to me. Jay is so much bigger than me. He's way too powerful to be coming down on little old me. It's almost a reverse psychology type of thing. Let me read a little bit. Dear Jay-Z, right? Dear Jay-Z. These are two street niggas from Brooklyn, right? If I'm not mistaken, I believe he's from Brooklyn just like Jay. But we're here. This is where we are. Dear Jay-Z, right? Right there. To me, you already, it's Fugazi right there. Let me just keep it pushing. It's an open letter. You didn't text him. You didn't call him. You put an open letter out for all of us to read. It's weird. I'm writing this letter because your voice has always carried meaning beyond music. For decades, your journey has represented possibilities to people who were told to expect limitation. But your story also represents something bigger than individual success. You became a symbol of what can happen when talent meets opportunity and when ambition refuses to surrender to the systems designed to contain it. For many people, especially within the Black communities across America, your rise challenged narratives that said greatness could only exist in certain places, schools, neighborhoods, or social classes. Gang, I'm going to let him finish reading this because it is kind of long, but I'm sure some of you would love to hear the whole story. So I'm going to let Lance say what he has to say, and here we go.
I do want to ask you about Jay. I know he did a freestyle some weeks ago that went viral where he brought up the stabbing incident between both of y'all.
I still on you suckers out of all of you niggas, gang. I ain't much for me, it's no how. Cancel the brunches, I remember the hunger pain. The price of the bricks going up. It's gonna cost you a beat to even say my name. You ever heard of a Wonder King? My children and some of them, have you niggas no shame? Y'all trying to get under skin? I really get under skin. Ask how I'm playing.
You heard about that?
Yeah, I kind of saw it. But before we kind of talk about that, I was working on something, and I plan on putting out this open letter to Jay-Z.
Let me just be clear. Art only brought him in there. He only brought him in there to talk about this open letter. They both understood this. They understood the assignment. He knew that he had something to say about it because he could have got him in there weeks ago, right? He could have got him in there weeks ago. So he waited till this letter was done, and then he told Art, okay, now I can come. Art knew about this open letter.
I think it's about time that, I kind of had this conversation with him. I wanted to really have it privately, but, I thought it would be good to, reach out to him this way. Dear Jay-Z, I'm writing this letter because your voice has always carried meaning beyond music. For decades, your journey has represented possibilities to people who were told to expect limitations. But your story also represents something bigger than individual success. You became a symbol of what can happen when talent meets opportunity and when ambition refuses to surrender to the systems designed to contain it. For many people, especially within Black communities across America, your rise challenged narratives that said greatness could only exist in certain places, schools, neighborhoods, or social classes. That is why your voice still matters today. Because right now, the world feels heavy. People are tired. Families are struggling. Communities are divided. So many people are carrying anger, grief, fear, and hopelessness.
All of this is true, gang. I need you to understand. It's all true. But why are you throwing this on Jay-Z's feet when he just said a line referring to stabbing you? And I get it. Some of you going to say, Challz, he's taking a grown man approach. I don't believe this is sincere. I believe all of this is true. We're in a messed up time for Black America, this, that, and the third. I don't think you're going to solve it with an open letter to Jay-Z. You know that Jay-Z is not going to listen to this and take any advice from Lance Rivera. So this is all for show, guys. I'm just going to be honest with you. This is for show. This is pandering. He's coming. He's trying to hit us with all this Black trauma, tell us all these things that's going on in the world, and lay it on to the Jay. At the end of the day, none of this is about this. That none of this is about this. This is about a freestyle that this man used his name, which he should be pretty upset about. Okay? I don't know why he's doing all this pandering, telling Jay-Z he's this, that, and the third. He could walk on water and all this. It's weird. It doesn't make any sense, but I'm gonna let him finish.
while trying to smile through it every day. We see violence becoming normal. We see people losing faith in each other. We see systems continue to fail the same communities over and over again while the culture keeps moving forward like none of it hurts. But it does hurt. And that is why your voice still matters. Not because you're famous, not because you're wealthy, but because you understand what it feels like to come from environments where people have to fight mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially just to survive.
All of that is true, but the open letter only exists because he's famous and because he's rich. You're not making an open letter to anyone else. So it is 100% because he's famous and because he's rich, on.
You understand the weight people carry when they feel trapped between who they are and who the world expects them to become. Your story evolved beyond survival. You showed people growth. You showed people that healing, learning, ownership, and self awareness are possible too. And honestly, the world needs more of that right now. We are living through a time where people are exhausted by division, inequality, violence, political tension, and economic struggle. Too many young people grow up feeling invisible. Too many communities continue fighting against underfunded schools, mass incarceration, discrimination, addiction, poverty, and the constant pressure of simply trying to survive another day. At the same time, there's brilliance in those communities. There's creativity, leadership, intelligence, culture, and untapped potential everywhere. Sometimes people just need proof that another future is possible.
All right, gang, that goes on for another 4 minutes or so, this, that, and the third. I'm not going too much further than that. You see where that's going, right? And it says, it just keeps going on, and it says, at the end, it says, and now more than ever, the culture needs voices willing to connect success with responsibility. I'm sure there's some more positive stuff he said in there, but to me, it feels kind of performative. I don't think that Lance Rivera was actually being, I don't even know what the word I'm trying to say, because it doesn't seem genuine. It seems like it's something for us to say, yeah, that's cool, this, that, and the third, and shine a spotlight back on him some kind of way. And maybe he is trying to be positive. This ain't the situation. This ain't the situation. Because to me, I don't see that it's going to go anywhere. I don't see that this is going to be turned into a positive thing, because at the end of the day, Jay is never going to ever respond to this in any kind of way. It ain't going to matter. Maybe this letter was for us to understand, and maybe he used Jay-Z's freestyle to prop up the things that he think is wrong with society, and that's cool. But I'm not sure that Lance's heart is in the right place, because he doesn't have any really good feelings about Jay-Z. So to make a letter this long, 8 minutes, it took you 8 minutes, damn near 8 minutes to read the whole thing, telling him how powerful and how strong his voice is, it doesn't add up with how you guys have been interacting over the years. He hasn't had the most positive stuff. Go back and watch that Art of Dialogue interview last year. He wasn't positive about Jay-Z whatsoever. It wasn't a good look. So I don't understand why he's so positive now. That's it. That's all I got. I don't really got nothing else to say about this, because it seemed like it's really a nothing burger, but at the end of the day, it's going to become something, because I believe that Lance is going to push this letter and make it go somewhere, and we'll probably end up in some type of lawsuit. I think this is going somewhere. But he already admitted, trying to make Jay-Z look corny, saying Jay never stabbed me. He ain't the one that did it. Somebody from his homeboy. And Lance Rivera, out his own mouth, said, y'all didn't listen to Nas. Nas basically told you that Jay didn't do nothing to me. Right? So I don't know where this is going. And just imagine this part. If Jay didn't do nothing to you, why are you writing a letter to Jay? End of the day, if Jay stood up there and he really didn't stab you, then Jay's a complete fraud. So why are you making a letter to a fraud telling him how strong his voice is? You didn't say nothing in the letter about him being a fraud. That's more important than everything you said in it. You're making him look like a giant. In this letter, open letter to Jay, you are making him look extremely positive. Like, Jay, we need your voice. We need you to do this, that, and the third for the kids, this, that, and the third. Why would you make something so something so deeply personal about a guy that's literally a fraud and a liar. I don't know, man. I don't have nothing else to say about it because to me, it's just weird. I think this is performative, and I think you're trying to get up there. Like they say, it's a little bit of clout chasing. And that's it, man. Let me know what you think in the comments. CLBMG. Head on over to black-yeti.com. Let them know who sent you. They ship all over the continental U.S. Also, Wednesday nights, we go live on the West Show. Even though we're on a summer break right now, all right? 9:15, 9:30 when we get back. Patreon. I got the Patreon account up. Keep your head up because I keep throwing up videos over there all the time. You can join for free, $99. All right, Challz Brown Patreon. All right. And the What Project, that's on all streaming platforms. Lock in, man. Go check that out. Let me know what you think. I'm out of here. I'm going to catch y'all on that flip side. Peace.
Look, mission impossible to drop a few lines without dropping old times when Southern Hill was still a gold mine. When pistol grips was my shit and I sold mine. When Alias was not a show and they told mine.
Elevate your mind with high quality THC infused products. BlackYeti.com. Black-Yeti.com.
CLB.
Get my coat, get my sheepskin, grab my wallet, get my pocket knife, and get that hat right there. We out. Grab my pocket knife too. Let's go. When I first came to the city, niggas didn't believe me. I just wanted to join a team and throw assist pass easily. 6 man off the bench, alley-oop pass freely. Suit up for one game and hope a scout might see me. But nah, niggas is greedy, wasn't rocking with him. Unplugged the scoreboard, put a lock on the gym. Told me to power forward, point guard at the rim. And left me with no center and a ball full of phlegm. Not knowing that I'm a dog, a Rottweiler within. With the heart of a pit bull that don't bark for pretend. My bites cut deep, break the bone and the skin. With the level of hustlenomics you do not comprehend. So first I took a block down on the west side end. And then secured a spot with some goons and some kin. And then sent out some flyers, let the games begin. And in 6 months time, the city like that's him. Oh yeah, he the one that moved the hustle to the burbs. And yeah, he the one that knocked the hustlers off the curb. And yeah, he the one that set up shop without a word. And he the one that got it cracking. And all he did was rapping by the Hooters. I kept killers from being shooters. Put a mic in a thug's hand, now he loyal like Pats fans. Take a man off the streets past the needles and crack cans. Promise mama to keep him safe and put some food in his face and he'll kill for you. But I don't need him for that. Click like, click share. Tell them bitches we back. Share the whole location. Tell them niggas where we at. Cause we out here and we ain't the cheese, we the trap.